After falling to 2-7, they said they're not going to fire their head coach Mike McDaniels. Tua's still going to be their starting quarterback because I don't see McDaniels making a quarterback change. Which who would they change to? I mean, let's be honest here, there isn't much. What does Miami go from here? Honestly, this season is a lost season. They're not making the playoffs, starting 2-7. They're not going to be good enough to make the playoffs. I mean, they would almost have to win out, which isn't going to happen. Mike McDaniels will probably be fired at the end of the season. I do like the idea of not firing him now, letting him finish off the year because honestly, I don't see much of a point in firing a guy mid-season and then, unless you have something worth like firing him for. Like if you had a rookie quarterback and you thought he was hurting his development, then yes, that's worth firing. But right now, obviously, Tua isn't. I don't see either Tua or Mike McDaniels being on the team next year. It would be a little bit hard to trade Tua. He does have contract, so he will be harder to trade than maybe somebody else like if they could have just released him altogether. I don't even know if Tyreek Hill will be on this team next year. Obviously, his injury was pretty bad. So if you're the Miami Dolphins, where do you go from here? And I think, honestly, you hit the reset button. I think you just gotta start rebuilding. I mean, you still have a young receiver in Jalen Waddle who's amazing, good running back, and Devon Achane. Your defense has some bright spots. So if you kind of suck for the next year or two while you try to find a new quarterback that's not Tua Tagovailoa, who, let's be honest here, is not gonna get you to a Super Bowl. He's barely getting you to the playoffs every now and then. I mean, he hasn't done that in a little bit either. So it's not like he is killing it for you either. So realistically, neither situation has looked very well. And I just think that the best way to go is by the end of the year, fire Mike McDaniel, let him go back to being an offensive coordinator where he's probably going to be at his best. He is not a great head coach, but he is a very good offensive coordinator, very good offensive mind. We've seen that in Miami with that one year where Tua actually looked like a really good quarterback and Tyreek Hill was balling out, Jalen Waddle was balling out, the running backs were balling out. The whole team kind of was. At this point, like watching the Ravens Dolphins game, this is the only Dolphins game I've watched all year. As a Ravens fan, I actually paid attention to it. It's not like an O-line thing. Tua's not being rushed too quickly and he can't get the ball out. He had plenty of time on a few of those and he just made bad decisions, made bad reads, made bad throws. It was just bad. And it was like Tua just completely has lost his confidence and I think honestly he's just going to be a backup quarterback going forward sooner rather than later. Obviously, for Miami, it's going to be hard to get off that contract. You might be able to dump him off and maybe somebody will take him because, he did show some promise. So maybe somebody else who could use a quarterback like maybe the Saints who this draft class isn't looking to be the greatest quarterback draft class because all the quarterbacks that were supposed to go at the top of this draft class have kind of sucked this year. So that might be a play. Maybe you can move him to a team like the Saints or some other team that might use him. Or you just cut him and eat his dead cap. I mean, that's a possibility too. I highly doubt they'll do that. I think the likelihood is Tua might stay on the team unless they can find a good trade. Honestly, they're going to be really bad. I'm not trading the pick to get rid of Tua's contract. I'm taking whoever I'm drafting there. You're going to finish top 5 probably by the end of the year at this rate. I mean, obviously this team has talent. They can figure ways out to win games and they can find their way out of the top 5, which you don't want to do that, honestly. You want to stay in that top 5 pick range. You want to be down there with the Jets and with the Browns and the Saints. You want to be in that mix because, honestly, at this point, building for your future is the only way up. This team clearly does not have the talent to get their way there. Like I said, the defense on paper doesn't look that bad. You have a good pass rush in Brandon Chubb and Bradley Chubb. Holy crap, Brandon Chubb. You have a decent safety in Fitzpatrick, obviously. The Steelers moved off of him for basically nothing. I mean, an old aging Jalen Ramsey, but it's not a ton because there's a lot of flaws in Fitzpatrick's game. He's a little slow for a safety, but they're still solid pieces. Obviously, I don't think you can move either piece for what you've given up for or whatnot because they didn't give up much for Fitzpatrick, but you're not going to get a ton back for him. For Bradley Chubb, they obviously gave up a first-round pick, and you're not getting that back for him at this point. You'll be lucky to get like a third or fourth for him. Tua, you're not getting anything really back. And I think you keep Waddle and you keep A-Chain and you try to build around that, get a new quarterback in the room. Try to find a good personality head coach, like a Dan Campbell type of guy. Because honestly, a big issue right now with a lot of coaching is if you get a defensive guy, you struggle offensively and your team's just as bad. If you get an offensive guy, but the team doesn't rally around him, like nobody's rallying around Mike McDaniels right now, they all kind of play just awful. It just doesn't really work. And that's honestly what I think the best plan is to blow it up and rebuild, but don't blow it up to where like you're trading Jalen Waddle unless you can get some crazy good deal for him. If you can go out there and get like 2 first round picks for Jalen Waddle, you take those trades, but you're probably not going to get that type of offer. You probably get like 1 first is best possibility, and I don't think it's worth trading. I think Waddle is young enough you could build around him. He's a great player to have for a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback you could bring in there, and I think that's what you got to build for. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What do you think Miami should do going forward? And I'll see you guys in the next one.